Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today we have a very special episode of our film fan community. I'm going over the pond once again, this time to the UK with Tayler from Taylered Entertainment. How you doing today, man?
I am so good. It's really nice to be on something like this with another YouTuber. I've never done anything like this before on someone else's channel. So it's really nice to, especially someone from America. And so it's super cool to be on here. I'm really happy about it.
So I don't know if you have seen these episodes that I've done before of our film fan community, but pretty much the rundown is we're just going to try and get to know you. We're going to know your film habits, your favorite films, stuff like that. So we're going to be kind of interviewing you a little bit.
All right. I would like to put a disclaimer down that I tend to have unpopular opinions when it comes to film. And so for people watching, try not to deliver too much hate my way. This
No,
is
man.
this is a nice thing that we're trying to do.
So, Tayler, what is your favorite movie of all time?
I tend to asked that question a lot, especially when I say like I'm a film critic or like I make my own short films. They're like, "Oh my god, what's your favorite film? You must know so much about every film ever." But I can never like narrow it down to just one. And if I'm ever asked to, it's either Pursuit of Happiness or a film called Man Down. Um, Now, when I say Man Down, have you ever heard of that film, Man Down with Shia LaBeouf?
No, I haven't heard of Man Down, but I have seen Pursuit of Happiness.
I mean, Pursuit of Happiness is it's a great film. I don't know if I need to explain that one much, but Man Down, no one tends to have really have heard of it before, and it's about a Shia LaBeouf who plays the character who's come back from war and he loses his best friend at war. I think one of the reasons I love it is because it was really broken up throughout the film, but then it all comes together at the end of the film, and it's really emotional.
All right, next question up. So this one is kind of a two-parter. I'm going to want one for the theater and for one when you're at home. But what are your favorite movie snacks that are a must when you're watching a movie?
At home, it's got to be something chocolate because I I have borderline an issue when it comes to chocolate, and so it's definitely the blue M&Ms or a plain dairy milk because that is hands down my favorite. However, when I go to the cinema, my local cinema, there's a McDonald's just over the road. And so you're not really supposed to do this. I'm pretty sure it's slightly, let's say, bending the rules. But I do tend to take McDonald's into the cinema with me. If you haven't done it, try it. If you get caught, I never told you.
Do you when you get through the line to have your ticket taken, or is there just like beads of sweat like going down your forehead? Because
Just
you know you
totally
have.
avoid eye contact with the guy taking my ticket.
So this one is going to get a little bit deeper than just movie snacks. But what
All right.
inspired you to create your channel, and what advice would you give someone that wants to create a channel? It doesn't just have to be about movies. If someone's interested in a different topic, just what would you say to them just to get that ball rolling for them?
Okay. Well, I'd say the thing that inspired me, it's a bit of a long story, but when I was younger, I was obsessed with becoming an actor and being on telly and being in film. And then over the years, that's kind of grown from wanting to be in front of the screen, but also behind it, that's kind of where I started having ideas for my own short films and stuff like that. And then it was actually I one of the things I did was took the people that I idolized and researched how they got where they are today. Um, and one of the big ones for me is Kevin Hart. He's a massive inspiration for me. Just the way he got from where he started to where he is now is insane. And so that kind of inspired me to just think as big as possible when it comes to future plans. And so that's how I just started just doing and started my own short films. And from there, I was like, okay, I want some more regular content. I like talking about films. You asked me about the right film, and I could just blab on. And so I was like, okay, I could start doing film reviews. And then from there, it's just kind of grown, and I got podcasts, game reviews, and it's just, I think my main inspiration and my main reason for wanting to start my channel is, I mean, it's also the reason that the name is what it is as well, is I just want to entertain as many people as I possibly can, which is why I do so much different types of content rather than just sticking to one. I'd say this is pretty much the same advice you'll get off anybody when asking to start a YouTube channel, and what advice to give is to just do it and to just dive in and start. I mean, I looked at video after video looking for the exact same answers, like what advice do you give? How do I do it? And it literally is just a case of know what you want to do and just do it. It's going to be god awful at the start. It's going to be terrible. Like I still have my first film review up on my channel, and I leave it there on purpose, even though I know that it's dreadful. I filmed it on my phone. It's at a funny angle, and you can't really hear me very well. It's terrible, but I'll leave it up there because that's just where you start. You're going to start and you're going to be bad, but then you learn from that and you slowly get better and better and better.
You are clearly a big DC fan from all the posters in the back. But in all honesty, for Marvel, the MCU specifically, what is your favorite character and why?
Again, this is an unpopular opinion, but it has to be, for me in the MCU so far, it has to be Captain America.
I don't think that's unpopular.
Every time I talk about it with someone, they're like, Captain America, he's so boring. Like, what does he do in the Avengers? I'm like, oh, don't even get me started. But I just love his character arc, and I think he has some of my favorite costumes as well. But it's mainly just the character arc that he has, from going in the ice and then coming out, getting used to the world around him, and then how he has to adapt to that, and how he can't really live without being part of some kind of war, and how he needs to come to terms with that, and how everything he knew and his whole reality is gone, and he has to live and fight in this new one. I just think that is the best story arc out of everyone so far in the MCU.
So moving on to the next question. This one, we're going to get into a little bit of fantasy and the whole what if realm. But nice. What would be your ultimate movie geek crossover?
I've been giving this a lot of thought. One of them isn't a film, but we're going to bend the rules on that question a little bit. I think The Witcher in The Lord of the Rings fits and would just be awesome.
Okay, I've never thought of that, but now that you threw that in my head,
I'd watch that movie.
Somebody make that happen.
Yeah.
What is a series or a franchise of films that is generally beloved by most, and you just don't share that same love for it?
Star Wars.
Say that a little louder for everyone in the back.
Star Wars.
Do you have a reasoning on why it's Star Wars?
I mean, I can appreciate the overall story and the idea of it. I can appreciate that, and I can't say a bad word about it. But it's just the only trilogy that I've really enjoyed is the second trilogy of the three. Yeah, the prequels. And that is only because they're kind of the movies out of all of them, the ones that I kind of grew up with. And so they're the ones that were newish around my childhood. And I only really saw the sequels after I got a little bit older, and I was like, oh, okay, they're a thing. But I think I kind of have that little connection to the prequels because they're the ones that I enjoyed while I was growing up and while I was young. And it was like, oh my God, lightsabers and backflips and the Force. And that's pretty much all that went in my head. And so, but yeah, I understand the hype. I'm just not on the bandwagon. I could never get on it. But I could just never get on the hype with Star Wars the same as everyone else could.
Now, let's just be clear. You don't hate Star Wars. You just don't share the same love.
I don't hate Star Wars. No, I don't think. I think it's impossible to hate movies that are that massive. Um, yeah, I just don't get the hype. I'm just not. I'm not with it.
So I'm gonna make you feel a little bit better, and I share the same ideology. I don't hate Star Wars, but the only ones that I can watch if I do watch it, I've seen all of them, but the only ones that are worth rewatching are the three originals. But even then, it's not something I can do every year. It's like every couple years I can go back to it, and I just like I don't have Star Wars T-shirts. I don't have Star Wars posters. Like I don't read Star Wars books, or I don't know any trivia about it. It's just I watched it, and yeah. But like all the other ones, I can't get into. The new ones couldn't get into. The prequels I couldn't get into.
That definitely makes me feel more comfortable about.
You're not alone.
Thank you. Thank you.
So me and you can take the hate together. Okay, next question. We're almost near the end. I got two more for you. What are some goals for your channel that you have for 2021? We're still near the first quarter of the year, so we have a long ways to go. So what do you want to hit before the end of 2021?
Um, well, aims with my Taylered Entertainment channel would be to release another short film, because during lockdown, I've been able to do a few little projects where I've been literally confined to my house, um, and maybe the surrounding area slightly, but that's kind of pushing it. And so, an aim for my Taylered Entertainment channel would be to produce and release at least one more full production short film. And for TayReviews, it's I'm pretty much just trying to grow my audience as much as I possibly can. Trying to constantly make videos look better, sound better. I'd like to hit 200 or 300 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be amazing. But my goals are pretty vague, to be honest. It's pretty much just to grow in every way I can try and grow.
I think that's very doable and reasonable, and I even think that you're going to be able to surpass that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate your faith in me.
All right, so we're on the final question that I'm going to be asking you, Tayler, and then I'm going to go ahead and throw the stand over to you if you have any quick questions you want to ask to get to know me real quick, since I've been hammering questions at you for the past half an hour. So for the final question, when you hear about an upcoming film, what makes you most excited about it? Is the director, the writers, the talent in front of the camera? What sparks your juices going?
Actors is definitely a big one for me. When you get the right actor and the right blend of actors on the same screen, you're gonna have a good film no matter what everything else is like. I definitely think it's the talent on the screen that perks my ears up the most, because when you get that right blend of actors, or if I see that one of my favorite actors is in a new film, I'm definitely going to go watch it 100%.
That's all the questions I have for you. I'm going to go ahead and throw the microphone over to you if you have anything quickly that you want to ask me.
I am the captain now. What's inspired you to start your channel? And in particular, is there a particular movie that inspired you to go further into that film route where, you become a film critic?
Okay. So what inspired me? It actually took years for me to be able to make this happen. I am almost 24. My birthday's next month, so I'm pretty much 24. But this idea of wanting to do YouTube came when I was around 16. So you can see there's a humongous time gap of me dreaming about doing this. I had just been watching these YouTube channels for years with similar topics that I'm interested in, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like I want to do that. I wish I could. And then it just came to me like, why can't I? Like I can do it. Who cares what other people think,
Yeah.
And I don't know what exactly happened, but I kind of just got over that insecurity. that I had for so many years. And now I'm meeting people from all over the world. You're in the UK. Like, I would have never been able to meet you before
Yeah.
without this sort of connection on YouTube and our love of film. I've made a lot of good friendships over YouTube. I want to continue doing that. And so that's kind of what inspired me, is all these other channels that I've been watching for years and just kind of being jealous that I want to do that, you know?
You kind of just hit fuck it. That's how I describe it, is when you just hit fuck it and you're like, right, I'm just going to do it.
The
I
words of
think,
Deadpool.
yeah. When you just get to that point where you put insecurity aside and just do what you want to do and what you think is going to make you happy, I think that is definitely something that needs to be known, that you've done that, and to inspire other people to also do that. It's a really big thing.
And then part two for your question was, what movie sort of inspired me to be a film critic and talk about film? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Okay. So before I delve into that, I don't really consider myself a film critic. I just consider myself a film lover. Yes, I talk about film and I talk about what I like and dislike, but I don't think that I'm at the place yet that I am going to classify myself as a critic. And I kind of have to Frankenstein that question a little bit. When I was little, people that have watched my older videos already know that a movie I watched on repeat and was in love and entranced by was Forrest Gump. Now, that movie did not inspire me to want to talk about movies. What that movie did was encourage me to watch different types of movies that I had not seen before. And over the years, so probably around 13, 14, Pulp Fiction right there, I watched for the first time. And I think most people, when you watch Pulp Fiction, you instantly fall in love with it. So Pulp Fiction did not make me want to do YouTube, but what Pulp Fiction did was like, what Pulp Fiction did was sort of remind me that, yeah, I'm crazy about movies. I want to know more about movies. I want to study what goes into making a movie and stuff like that. So it's kind of a little bit of Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction mixed into one that kind of jump-started my love and interest in movies. All right, so Tayler, thank you for being on. This is going to conclude our film fan community for this episode. So we learned a whole lot about you. I'm glad that you were able to jump on here with me and talk about movies and our shared love of movies. Before you go, why don't you go ahead and plug your channel? Tell us about your podcast. Tell us about any upcoming videos.
Well, I've got two channels at the minute. My main one is Taylered Entertainment, where I have a bit of everything, and then I have a side channel where it's TayReviews. Now, on Taylered Entertainment, you'll have short films, you'll have podcasts, is what mainly gets put up on there. And then TayReviews is game reviews along with some gameplay footage and movie reviews. So if you're into that more, then I'd say go to TayReviews. However, I'd say from the podcast, it's literally just we talk about whatever the hell comes to mind. And so I think it's a good, fun podcast to just chill out and listen to and just switch off. We don't talk about anything important, anything that you really need to pay 100% attention to. It's just a nice, easygoing podcast that it was just fun to make. And so, yeah, if any of those types of content, pique up your interest, then do feel free to go and join us there.
And you can also find Tayler on his Facebook channel, Taylered Entertainment. I'll have the link down below for that, where he posts updates on his channel and stuff that he's working on. You can also find me on Facebook along with this channel right here if you're not subscribed, on Pierce Productions on Facebook. Tayler, I hope that in the future we're able to do something again. I had a really good time talking with you.
Definitely. I've had a good time too. Thank you for having me on. This has been really nice.
All right. Well, thank you. Yes. Thanks again for being on. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, and I'll see everyone next time.